So I recently asked for the audience's unpopular opinions about popular artists, old or new, it doesn't matter. My only criteria was just don't say so-and-so's overrated. I feel like that is so lazy. If you think someone is overrated, explain why, articulate your thoughts. But I did get a lot of interesting takes, and over 1,300 people gave me their unpopular opinions, so I obviously can't get to everyone, but I tried to select some really interesting takes. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. I don't need new music from Rihanna, until she feels like dropping some. She's been in the industry since she's like 16, 17, gave us 8 albums almost back to back, all iconic in their own right. It's like some people are forgetting how draining the industry can be. And to that, I agree. I mean, on one hand, Rihanna does feel the fire, and it seems like every year she says the album is dropping this year. And her 8th album, Anti, is what many consider to be her best, so I do understand the pull and interest and more from her. Especially because Anti is so different from the rest of her discography. It's like, where is this journey taking us? But maybe it's just where the journey ends, and that's okay. Rihanna has given us a lifetime of music. I think that people also forget that Rihanna was a teen star. So she's really been doing it for so long, and honestly her legacy has only seemed to be appreciated and grow more in her absence. She can retire knowing that she had one of the best hit runs in history, and her music is still adored. Madonna is one of the most disrespected legends, and it is partially her fault. People have made a mockery of some of her attention-seeking behavior and surgeries, but that doesn't diminish what she's done. Very few pop stars has been as influential as her, and many don't understand the seismic shift she had on the industry and how women were consumed. Even in Mariah Carey's book, she revealed that when she first signed, her label liked her because she had the young girl quality that was popular because of Madonna. Her influence surpasses individual artists and has shaped the music industry itself. Madonna is the only legend people would try to diminish and attribute everything she's done to others. And to that, I also agree. Madonna is known as the queen of pop, but I don't really think people understand her influence, and people don't really take her seriously present day. It's more expansive than labels trying to create another Madonna. It's in the way she marketed herself, the way she exercised female agency in every aspect of her career, her tours and visual imagery, which have become pop standards. I think Madonna's influence is more palatable on the music industry as a whole, more than individualistic influence. On to the next one. I don't think Bruno Mars fully gets credit for how much he's done over the years and still remains relevant. That man has set an impossible standard on what it means to be a well-rounded pop star. His catalog is far more diverse than most. Ups and downs of life, that man has a hit for everything. Runaway Baby, It Will Rain, Grenade, Liquor Store Blues, Uptown Funk, etc. Just to name a few, and those are just the ones at the top of my head. Longevity, performances, songwriting skills, I mean, come on now, if anyone's the new Michael Jackson, it's Bruno. He's a generational icon and a national treasure at this point. I was with you until you said he's the new Michael Jackson. That's where everyone always loses the plot. Bruno is a product of Michael Jackson. And with all due respect to Bruno, he has not broken any boundaries. Bruno is an excellent performer, an excellent writer, but he doesn't have the legacy to succeed Michael Jackson. The industry as we know it would not look the same without Michael Jackson. The industry would look the same without Bruno Mars. Janet Jackson should have been unapologetic in 2004. She didn't have the luxury to be unapologetic. 1, she's a black woman. 2, she had major corporations in the entire country mad at her. I'm sure she felt very pressured to be apologetic due to her career being in flames. Publicity stunts can sometimes go wrong, but what we can all agree upon is that how it was held over Janet's head for so long was ridiculous. Ice Spice's cancellation was only as successful as it was because she's a woman. There are many male rappers who can't rap, don't write, make mid songs, and are truly terrible people / abusers. Yet we don't see many, if any, male rappers get the negative backlash as she does. I 100% am for deplatforming Ice Spice for things such as her colorist antics. However, I can't help but feel as though the hate for her was as big as it was and more amplified because she's a woman. I feel like if you say that male rappers don't get negative backlash, you just do not pay attention to male rap, because that is literally the furthest thing from the truth. Also, I don't think Ice Spice got cancelled. She fell off, which is different. More than anything, Ice Spice's problem was not widening her brand and the lack of good music. She's a one-trick pony. Speaking of male rappers, DaBaby had a similar moment, except he actually had a controversy to go with it. If you have a Taylor Swift feature before your debut album even drops, while she's on the biggest tour of all time, and so many other famous cosigns, and you can't transform that into your own brand that people want to be invested in, that sounds like a you problem. I just can't be gaslighted into thinking Ice Spice is good or was ever good. We can play the deflection game, so-and-so is still successful, so-and-so has this. Well, yes, they have a brand that people want to be invested in. Ice Spice does not. End of story. I generally like Sabrina Carpenter and think she's genuinely talented, but I feel like her current image and the way her team is marketing her is going to turn a lot of people away real soon. She's focusing too much on her aesthetics, and I think her music is failing in quality as a result. I wish we as an audience would embrace talented women for their work and not wait until they sexualize themselves to reward them with a career. I think she's rebranded herself into a box that's going to be hard for her to break out of if she decides to later in her career. I have been saying it. It's leaning a little too much into kitschiness. And maybe it's what Sabrina wants, but I feel like I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. I love to call it Katy Perryfication, where these artists built these hugely successful caricatures of themselves and lean into it super hard and can never exactly find their way out of it. But who knows, maybe Sabrina has supposed to know when a shift is coming, only time will tell. I do see Sabrina becoming more polarizing as time progresses though. Addison Rae is the most overhyped artist of the 21st century. Yes, Diet Pepsi is an okay song, but it isn't when she sings it live, along with any of her other album tracks. Her music is heavily auto-tuned, and it's very obvious that she lacks singing ability. Her fans on Stan Twitter are insane for comparing her to the likes of people who have been doing music for 10 plus years and have real talent / experience, when Addison has little vocal ability and lots of songs that sound the same, as well as being an obvious lip singer. I like Headphones On, that is my favorite Addison song, and I see the appeal of Diet Pepsi, but I do agree that people acting like Addison Rae's The Second Coming needs to stop. And there were people genuinely upset that people felt meh about her album. I've been hearing comparisons to Britney Spears. To me, she's more like Paris Hilton or Heidi Montag. I also think she plays to more of a niche than a main pop girl type of ordeal. K-pop isn't a genre of music, it's an industry that rehashes Western music with a different font and aesthetics. It doesn't have a unique sound element to differentiate it compared to actual genres like Afrobeats, punk, rock, R&B, etc. I think that is one of the reasons, aside from racial biases, that it gets snubbed in the Grammys. Doesn't help that it has created a culture of fast food music and toxic parasocial fan bases to keep it afloat. What people don't seem to understand about K-pop in the Grammys is that K-pop is teen pop. It is catered towards kids, with a massive emphasis on imagery. The bubblegum teen pop shtick is not something that has ever been favored by the Recording Academy. So in that sense, I agree with you and you are correct. Ariana Grande is more of an R&B artist than a pop artist. She has major pop hits, but when you take a closer look at the deep cuts on her albums from Yours Truly to Positions, a majority of the tracks on the album they're on are R&B/R&B pop songs. Yeah, Ariana Grande is an R&B pop artist, from lyrics to vocal stylings to production, much like her idol Mariah. Yes, she has the big dance numbers, but her bread and butter have always been these R&B pop stylings, and if she was black, she would more than likely be considered an R&B artist. Sabrina Carpenter gets a pass for the same thing that Chloe Bailey was demonized on. Both wanted to break their good girl image and both adopted a more sexual forward identity. Yet one constantly gets told she's trying too much and the other gets celebrated. Well, I don't think Sabrina Carpenter and Chloe Bailey are doing the exact same things. It's one thing to be sexual, but you can approach sexuality in many different ways. I also think Sabrina has spent time to cultivate an image, a shtick, something identifiable about what she does. Chloe the solo artist hasn't really got there. Chloe and Halle as a duo from branding to music were 10 out of 10. As solo artists, they have struggled to give something as strong as that Chloe and Halle material. But also the main difference between Chloe and Sabrina is that Chloe is very self-serious in the way she presents herself. Sabrina is the opposite. So yeah, they're both sexual, but I don't think they're doing the same thing, nor are they making the same type of music. Also, Sabrina doesn't exactly get a pass, she gets backlash as well. Taylor Swift is a talented writer, but she is not on the level of Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, or Prince. Publications give her too much credit for popularizing songwriting in the 21st century, when that was the natural shift as we veered more towards an era of authenticity. Amy Winehouse and Lana Del Rey are far better writers. Avril Lavigne and Michelle Branch were really one of the first to make way with the teenage songwriter shtick this century that Taylor later copied. And don't even get me started on the 90s. There's an abundance of women that made songwriting their marketing gimmick. It's not all that unique, and Taylor is good, but she isn't the best. She has great marketing though. I'm not sure if it'd be a generational dividing opinion or not. Some people that grew up with Taylor might say she's the best of all time, others might not. I will say I don't think Taylor has reached the height of Joni Mitchell, Prince, or Bob Dylan as writers, but she has proven herself to be a good writer. I do agree that attributing songwriting to Taylor Swift in the 21st century as a whole is a bit much, and it's not that unique when looking to the past. But as the saying goes, reputation precedes you, and her being a songwriter is the nucleus of her artistry, and she's the most popular one, so of course she's going to get a lot of credit for it. Folklore makes me feel like I'm listening to an audiobook. It just feels so immersive lyrically. I will also say I prefer the more concise songwriting on Swift songs. I like the blunt, cram-fisted writing on Anti-Hero, but I feel like that's an anomaly. When you think Tim McGraw, I hope you think of my favorite song. He's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. When you're 15 and somebody tells you they love you, you're going to believe them. There's a simplicity in these lyrics that I think really helps highlight her strengths as a storyteller and writer more than her more blunt and wordy work, which I don't find to be her ultimate strength. The hate Alicia Keys gets is pure sexism. Swizz Beatz gets literally no backlash for being a married man having an affair. That woman sold over 100 million records, won over 10 Grammys, sold out stadiums, starred in big movies, had major endorsements, and released some of the biggest R&B pop ballads between 2000 and 2015. For people to now act like she's some has-been who accomplished nothing, I wholeheartedly agree. Swizz Beatz is pretty much unscathed. Every time Alicia Keys has an unpleasant moment, the internet is always like, that's her karma for stealing someone's man. Now, I'm not saying Alicia was right, but to diminish her legacy and accomplishments to that is pure misogyny. Many male acts will make songs about cheating, stealing someone's girl, and people don't give a damn. Also, it's been decades, just let Alicia live. As much as I love Beyoncé, she doesn't need all those Grammys, and the only reason she won so many is because the industry doesn't want multiple black women being on top. The fact black women like Fantasia, Ciara, Keisha Cole, Ashanti, etc. have no Grammys or just one or two is insulting. Don't get me wrong, Beyoncé works her ass off, but almost 40 Grammys while Diana Ross never won a single one, Patti LaBelle only won 2, Brandy only won 1, Ciara only won 1. I can name at least 10 Grammys that could have easily went to other women and Beyoncé would still have 25 Grammys. Well, I don't think it matters if Beyoncé needs the Grammys. The fact of the matter is she won them. I agree with you about our legends like Diana Ross and Patti LaBelle deserving more, but those are not Beyoncé's competitors and not her fault. You lost me a little with Ciara and Ashanti. I'm not taking away any of their glory, but they do not have the careers that Beyoncé has. They are not still pumping out these conversation-sparking album statements or even hits. Now, I do think there is tokenism when it comes to Beyoncé, especially in her earlier career, and I don't think anyone can deny that. Due to racial bias, I think most black people that hit that threshold in the limelight will be subject to some form of tokenism. You know, the acceptable version of blackness and all that entails. Even Whitney Houston went through it. But what I admire about Beyoncé is that she's used her position to reinforce blackness and shine a light on black cultures. So while I agree other performers deserved more, it's not Beyoncé's fault, it's the Recording Academy's fault. And to add, the unfortunate side of being a pioneer is that sometimes you have to get snubbed, so those that come after you can reap those benefits. Most of the legendary artists do not have as many awards or recognition as we might think. Tori Kelly is the best vocalist of our generation, and this channel needs to talk about her more. I'm not sure about the best vocalist of our generation. I think she's definitely one of the best. I listened to Shoulda Been Us and All in My Head. I think Tori has a wonderful voice and boring music. Big Sean is one of the best male rappers of this generation. His voice and lyricism is impeccable. I don't understand how he's not in the conversation anymore when it comes to male rappers, even when an icon like Eminem collaborated with him on a few songs. I just cannot agree with this. Big Sean has come a long way from his early days, but one of the best of this generation, nah. Cher's wardrobe was the best part of her artistry. Over the years, it got more muted, and so has her image. Well, I love Cher as an actress, as a fashion icon. Her as a pop star is filled with extreme highs and extreme lows. I won't say her wardrobe is the best part of her artistry, but it is an integral part of her career. I don't think you can really separate one from the other. Bridgit Mendler, her debut album is really good, and the second one too. I'm not sure if this is unpopular as much as it is unknown, but Bridgit Mendler was one of the more solid Disney music acts. And I like some of her work post-Disney too. Atlantis is my favorite song by her. The Taylor's versions were never meant to fully replace or be a better version than the originals, and it was perfectly fine to prefer the OGs instead of the TVs, even before Taylor regained them back, and now it shows because most of the originals are gaining more streams than the Taylor versions. I agree, I feel like the OG versus the TVs conversation became a virtue signaling contest after a while. I just think the original versions have much more emotion, and on most of them better production as well. I thought Fearless TV was the only one that really felt complete. Doja Cat's music post-Amala pre-Scarlet isn't really aging that well. She has a few gems such as Street, Say So, Cybersex, and Need to Know, but going back to a lot of her other music now, it sounds very dated in a quick span of time. Songs like That, Woman, and Get Into It don't come off as nearly impressive or iconic as they used to seem. And not to say that they're bad at all, but they kind of just reflect trends in music that were going on at the time. Sometimes profound, but often in a mediocre way. Planet Her doesn't hold up to other iconic pop records of this decade, such as Future Nostalgia or After Hours. It certainly doesn't hold the same amount of character or uniqueness as its predecessors, Amala and Hot Pink. I agree, I don't find myself as entranced with the earlier Doja records. I still think Hot Pink is a fun and good record. Planet Her is just okay. One interesting thing is I will say I felt lukewarm towards Kiss Me More initially because I felt it was a Say So 2.0, but now I don't revisit Say So at all and prefer Kiss Me More. I like the structure of the song more in the SZA edition. As edgy as Doja is, she always has this conformity in her music. Red Hot Chili Peppers, bad people, bad production, bad songwriting, bad lyrics, overall cringe energy as a group. I mean, you could say they're bad people, but I can't get behind you on the rest. I enjoy the Chili Peppers. J. Cole is great, but overrated. He's just not on the level a lot of his fans put him on. He's not one of the best rappers of all time, and he's not on the level of Kendrick. I agree, I honestly can't believe there was a time when I thought of J. Cole as an equal to Kendrick Lamar, or that they could even go toe to toe. I appreciate Cole's earlier work, but I feel like Kendrick has cemented himself as the top dog of our time. He is just on a different level. Halsey's last album, The Great Impersonator, was not good. I get that people sympathize with the tragedy she went through, but the album just wasn't good. I didn't like the concept of her cosplaying other artists, and yeah, I do think it's unfair to say she has main character syndrome, but the album just didn't deliver. That's why it came and went and no one talks about it. Ouch. But I have to agree, I was not a fan of The Great Impersonator as a body of work. I do commend and respect Halsey's openness about her journey. To dismiss that as main character syndrome is insane. I did see a lot of defense for the album, but ultimately, I don't think the album was very good or even memorable. And yeah, that about wraps up this video, me responding to your unpopular opinions. Let me know what resonated with you down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.